What is up, guys? Donkey7 here, bringing you a brand new video, and today we're taking a final look at the Halo Xbox 360 games since their online services are being disabled today, January 13th, 2022. Now, I'm uploading this video at 10 a.m. PST as I assume that is the time 343 are going to use to disable the online services for these legacy Halo games, since 10 a.m. PST is the same time 343 uses to update their current Halo games, such as Halo MCC and Halo Infinite, and it kind of makes sense to me that the same time they use to update their current games would be the same time they use to disable the services of their old legacy games. Now, I'm not sure if that's actually what the case is. That was just an assumption. Most likely, it will be around this time, but at the time this video is being uploaded, the servers could still be up for a few more hours, or by the time this video is being uploaded, the servers can already be disabled. But moving on from the intro, it's time we start taking a look at the Xbox 360 Halo games, and we're going to do that first by honoring the final words of Sergeant Johnson from Halo 3.
Send me out with a bang.
That's exactly what we're going to do here by making an over hour-long video of me discussing some things about the Xbox 360 Halo games, some of the memories I have from them, some of the friendships that were formed through some of these games, so on and so forth. And then after that, I'm going to just have some no commentary video of me navigating every single menu from Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, Halo Wars, Reach, Halo 4, even Halo Spartan Assault for the Xbox 360, and finally, the Halo Waypoint app for the Xbox 360, which never got ported to the Xbox One when the games came backwards compatible and all that stuff, which was a very cool app to have back in the day for the Xbox 360 Halo games such as Reach and Halo 4. But 343 never mentioned if that app would be disabled as well when the online servers are for the Xbox 360 Halo games. Most likely, they probably will not be taking the Halo Waypoint app down, but after they did a bunch of retrofits to the website itself, a lot of the stuff on the app became non-functional in the way it used to be, and when the other stuff gets removed today, with the online servers being all the Halo 4 and Halo Reach stuff on that app is removed, essentially, it kind of seems redundant to have the app, so I wanted to put functioning parts of the app in this video before the servers are disabled. Now, there are timestamps in the description below for all the different topics I'm going to be talking about, as well as the timestamps for when I'm navigating each specific menu, such as timestamps for the Reach menu, or the Halo 3 menu, or the Halo Waypoint menu, or even timestamps for when I'm going through all of my achievements from all the Xbox 360 Halo games, since I do have a 100% completion on all those, except for Halo 2 Vista, because the 20 multiplayer achievements were no longer obtainable after early 2015, if I remember correctly. Nonetheless, the achievements were also a major part of the Xbox 360 Halo game, so I thought it would be a disservice to not include them in this video, especially after I spent years completing all of these games. So with that, let's move on to the first topic. The first topic of this video being about when and how I first started playing the Halo series and getting my first Xbox 360 for Christmas in 2009. Now, I believe in previous videos I've said we got that Xbox 360 for Christmas in 2008. Before recording this, I did go back and look at the Xbox Live gamer tag my brother and I used to share prior to getting a second 360, to where then we both had our own accounts. In the earliest account the earliest achievement that account has was from January of 2010, which makes sense to me that we did get that Xbox 360 Elite in Christmas of 2009, because I do kind of remember getting the wireless adapter for it relatively quickly after the holiday season, since if you remember, the original Xbox 360 and the 360 Elite did not have a built-in Wi-Fi card like the 360 Slim and then the 360e models did. So you had to have that wireless adapter where it was either the single antenna or the double antenna, which for the 360 Elite, we had the double antenna one. So I believe that meant we did get the Xbox 360 Elite for Christmas of 2009. Additionally, we don't actually have any Xbox 360 games, or we didn't have any Xbox 360 games for it that were made prior to 2009, because I remember getting all those games after we'd gotten our Xbox 360, such as Halo 3 or COD World at War, and then eventually MW2, and then a few miscellaneous games like Star Wars Republic Heroes, etc. But my first time playing Halo 3 was back in 2008 at my friend Billy's house, and I remember this because it was for one of his birthday parties, in which there was probably, I think, like 10 or 11 of us, maybe. it was a few kids in our class, or I should say our grade at the time, because we weren't all in the same class when we were in fourth grade. Some of us were in classes together in first grade or second grade or third grade, but not in fourth grade. And then additionally, some of them were also kids that lived in his neighborhood. So there was probably, I want to say 10 or so of us, and it was a birthday sleepover, so a bunch of us were going to be there all night. And I don't know why I specifically remember this. I'm going to assume because it had an impact on me and it was my first time playing Halo 3 and it eventually led to my experience of playing Halo 3 after we got the game when we got our own 360 or then eventually, getting Halo Reach, so on and so forth. But my first time playing Halo 3, specifically Halo 3 multiplayer matchmaking is what we were playing at his house. The first match I played, I remember being on the map Construct, and it was pretty much just me kind of walking on the map because I was just trying to get a feel for it being a little fourth grader. I didn't play the game beforehand. I had no clue. So I was just kind of walking around the map and stuff like that. I remember being, I'm pretty sure, AR Slayer because I definitely remember not being able to hit a single thing and then getting long shotted by so many things. But what I do remember about that match as well was I pretty much just camped around the upper section of the back lift on Construct pretty much the entire match. And if I was killed by somebody, I would just continue walking around the map until I got back to there. For whatever reason, I really liked that section of the map, I guess, or at least fourth grader me did. Um, and then we played a little bit of multiplayer matchmaking for a bit, and then his cousin suggested because he also brought an Xbox 360 over Billy's house since again birthday sleepover. We had two TVs up in their game room, a couch, and then two 360s. I remember at one point after playing a bit of multiplayer matchmaking on Billy's 360 as his cousin and a few of them were playing a few other games on the other Xbox 360. I don't remember what games they were playing at the time, obviously. I'm going to assume maybe Mortal Kombat was probably one, but honestly, that part of my memory I didn't really care about. It was I guess the Halo portion of my memory which stuck with me all these years, I should say, essentially 14 years later. Um, but I remember at one point playing custom games on split screen with them as well. Also we played multiplayer matchmaking split screen, which because I believe ranked Team Slayer was BR starts, it definitely couldn't have been that because I don't think you could do split screen for ranked Slayer back in the day. I could be completely wrong if someone wants to remind me if that's correct or not. So it probably was social Slayer, I guess, but honestly, I do not remember how playlists were set up back in the day because I didn't actually play Halo 3 multiplayer on my own Xbox until 2010. So I'm just pretty much going off of what I can remember about that back in the day. But after we're done playing the multiplayer matchmaking, I remember they wanting to play custom games, and I'm pretty sure probably Fiesta, just normal Team Slayer. Obviously, I didn't know what any of the game modes were at the time. I think there was also a sword-only game mode. I don't know if that was a game mode they had created or if that was a built-in game mode. I believe it was a built-in game mode, or at least MCC, I believe, has it as a built-in game mode. So there's that. But for whatever reason, specifically of that night, I just remember playing Halo 3 multiplayer matchmaking, and specifically the match on Construct. I think there was another match I played after with whoever else was playing with me. I think it was our friend Nick or his older brother Mike that was playing that match with me as well on split screen for multiplayer matchmaking. I believe the second match that I played was on Epitaph. The map that has the little Guardian inside, or at least the hologram of the Guardian inside like the temple. I believe those were the two first maps I ever played on Halo 3. I definitely know for a fact Construct was the first. Epitaph could have been from Customs. I don't remember that one specifically as much. I just remember the initial time I first played Halo 3 multiplayer matchmaking back in the day. It's weird how certain things, I guess, stick with you, but because it had such an impact, it makes sense. And then Christmas '09 comes around over a year later, and for Christmas we got an Xbox 360, and I believe with that Xbox 360 came bundled with Halo 3, or it was a while of just trying to convince our mom to let us buy Halo 3. Probably convincing my friend Billy's dad as well to tell my parents, hey, it's an okay game, because he's played the game as well. He played COD, World at War with us as well, and just really chill times when we'd go over there and play video games. So that's essentially my how I started playing the Halo series, and it's all thanks to my friend Billy, and he's a friend I still talk to even to this day. I've seen him, recently. I still talk to actually a lot of my friends from those early days, and still see them. Some of us went to college together for the same major and all that stuff. So it's a nice thing to still have those early friendships that you made back in elementary school that last past after graduating college. So those are just some memories I only have about the first times playing the Halo series, and they're memories I guess that stick to me well because I remember them, or at least parse them to this day. But now I think it's time to move on to the next topic. So, as much as I cherish those memories of playing Halo 3 for the first time with my friends Billy and Nick and some of our other friends from our elementary school classes, and then eventually leading to me and my brother getting an Xbox 360 for Christmas the year later, it doesn't even compare to the memories that I cherish because of Halo Reach. Obviously, those same friends that I had that introduced me into Halo 3, I still played Halo Reach with them throughout the lifespan of it. But I had more friends from our middle school now because we were going into 7th grade when Halo Reach released. Where when Halo 3 was out and I played it, we were at the end of our 4th grade year. So, because we're now in a middle school, same school district, but because there was two different elementary schools in our school district, both of them were combined then for the middle school. So from there, you make more friends that weren't at your elementary school that were at the other, and so on and so forth. Or you just make new friends from kids that were at your elementary school but were never in your elementary school classes. So that was one thing. It just opened the number of friendships we had up. Now, for the first few months of Halo Reach's release, we still only had the one Xbox 360 as we didn't get a second one until December 25th, 2010. Now, because of that, my brother and I had still or were sharing one Xbox Live gamer tag that he created at some point after getting obviously the Wi-Fi adapter for the Xbox 360 Elite in early 2010, and then he made it some point before Halo Reach released in 2010 as well in September. So we were only using the one Xbox Live gamer tag, and I think partially that was because my mom didn't see any point in getting a second Xbox Live subscription for an account for me to use because, well, we only had the one Xbox, so it didn't make sense in the first place. And to that, I actually agree. I actually still agree with that, honestly. But what I wish I would have done because of stat reasons, when I would play the Xbox, I just had a blank Xbox profile. It was just, my name normally. It didn't have my gamer tag or anything like that. So I used to use that for playing Halo 3 on our 360 Elite, and then for the first 2 months, or 3 months technically, I would just use that account for playing Halo Reach, because when I'd play, or when my brother and I would play together, we pretty much just played custom games, and we would use his account to just download whatever we found off the file browser through the most recommended or most recommendations and most downloads. And then if I was playing multiplayer matchmaking, I would just play on his account, or him and I would play together, and I would be on the guest account using, the good old Xbox 360 guest sign and stuff. Man, I don't miss those at all. But I guess at some point I found this out while looking at that 20th anniversary Xbox site they put up back in November. I guess at some point I made my Xbox Live gamer tag itself in November of 2010, which my birthday is also in November. So I think what happened, and it was a few days after my birthday the account was created. So I think what happened was for my birthday I got some game that, if you remember this back in the day, some games used to come with those Xbox Live trial subscriptions in them. So either I had probably a 2-day or 14-day. I don't remember what was the common trial codes in games back in the day. Probably was a 2, a 14, or a month, maybe even. So I had that, and I guess I created an Xbox Live gamer tag, but for whatever reason, I never played Halo Reach on it when I first created it. I think it had something to do, ironically, with the fact that if you had an offline Xbox account, or I should say profile, and you then began Xbox Live on it, if you tried to then play Halo Reach, it would ask you the options of, hey, do you want to continue with your current rank and armor, but nobody will ever see what rank or armor you are. They'll all see you as recruit in default armor, because I believe that was Bungie's preventing hackers from just maxing out their rank day one and having all the armor. I believe that was what Bungie used that for. The other option was reset your account to rank 1 for Xbox Live, and people will see you rank up and be able to see your armor like normally. Um, and because of that, because my offline account had reached, I believe, I want to say captain or whatever, maybe it was major or captain, whatever rank you unlocked EOD in Halo Reach. It may have been a few ranks even higher than that. It could have even been Lieutenant Colonel when you unlocked Mark 5. Um, but I remember at one point I got to one of those ranks and I'm like, well, because I played so many custom games, I'm like, well, I don't want to lose all that stuff, so I just completely made a new Xbox profile from scratch, and that's when I first created my gamer tag. Funny enough, also inspired off of my friend Billy's Xbox Live gamer tag and my friend Nick's gamer tag, as we all went with it, or as they had a similar theme to what I ended up copying essentially. Um, my cousin Ben then eventually also adopting that theme, and even to this day, Billy's gamer tag is still in that similar theme. Nick's gamer tag, that changed a little bit, but also because him and his brother both use that gamer tag even to this day, I believe. Um, so that was one thing, but as you can see by the image that's now on screen, I actually didn't log my Xbox Live gamer tag ever into Halo Reach until this day 11 years ago, which talk about some weird timing that of all days 343 chose to shut down the servers. Somehow it was exactly 11 years in the future from when my Halo Reach account or my Xbox Live gamer tag first started playing Halo Reach on live. Talk about crazy, but and honestly the reason for this is because after Christmas, my brother and I had both our own Xbox 360s, but even when I was playing Reach for those like 10 15 days after Christmas, I would still just use that offline account. And then eventually, my brother wanted to play customs with me. He wanted me to play custom games with him and a bunch of his friends, but he didn't want to play split screen. So, had to get Xbox Live. I don't remember if my mom just straight up went to CVS, got an Xbox Live card for me, or if I had it in some game case, or just put, credit card information into the account to give me like 3 months of live. But I remember then eventually playing custom games with my brother and his friends from my Xbox in my room while he played it in his room, and that would have been that first day right there, January 13th, 2011, 11 years ago in the past. So that's kind of a crazy thing. And then from there, it expanded into playing so many Reach customs with not just only my brother and some of my cousins and some of their friends, but also a bunch of my friends from elementary school and then also middle school, such as Billy again, our friend Nick, other friends that I met through, from fifth grade, sixth grade, and then seventh grade. And it became this thing where we ended up doing customs, it felt like, almost every other night sometimes. And I mean, also, you got to remember again, we're middle schoolers, or at least, me and my friend group, we were all middle schoolers at the time. So obviously, we had a lot of time to kill. And I just can remember the hours of playing Halo Reach Customs. I mean, you look at this image right here, I have over 1,600 games of customs played in Halo Reach on the Xbox 360. Over 46 days of playtime. The only other game that even exceeds this number is MCC. My total playtime in Halo 4 is a quarter of this. My total playtime of Halo 3 on my Xbox Live gamer tag was like 4 days, because obviously you got to remember I didn't play Halo 3 much on my gamer tag where after Halo Reach came out. As obviously, as I mentioned earlier, I didn't have a live profile until November 10th. So all those times playing Halo 3 beforehand was playing it on an offline account. And if I could go back and make one change to my childhood, it would have been make that original Xbox profile I had made on our Xbox when we first got it, make that an Xbox Live gamer tag. That is my one regret, was not reusing that old account to include stats on the number of custom games I played in Halo 3, because for whatever reason, Halo 3 says my Xbox Live gamer tag has only played like less than 20 custom games, which I feel like even though I didn't play many custom games on Halo 3 after getting my live count, I definitely felt like it was more than 20 games. But what do I know? Maybe there's something I'm completely forgetting. Um, but yeah, so then, Halo Reach does causes so much major things for my childhood, so many fun times, so many fun memories. Eventually, I start watching a bunch of Halo videos on YouTube of custom games, and I start downloading a bunch of custom games for myself on my profile. And I was essentially, of my friend group, I was the person to host custom games essentially almost all the time. I would find some of the most enjoyable stuff, such as racetracks, infection mini games, etc. A lot of which are videos that are on my channel. Funny enough, because of watching those Reach custom videos and even some Halo 3 custom videos I watched back in the day, those are what actually led me to making YouTube videos in late 2011 on a YouTube account that my brother and I, essentially it was just a family YouTube account that we all had that we shared. Eventually in early to mid 2012, I made my own YouTube channel with the channel name that you're seeing right now and started re-uploading all of them there, and then started making more stuff, and then Halo 4 comes out, so on and so forth. So, in a way, Halo Reach is the reason you're even seeing this video now. Halo Reach is the reason I started making YouTube videos as early as late 2011. Now, my old videos, I used to record them with just a Sony handy camera on a tripod that I put the tripod on my bed facing my TV. I mean, that was at a time, that was how YouTube videos were straight up made. Before people had capture cards or good capture cards, some people used cameras to record their screens. So this just brings back the whole bunch of memories for me about Halo Reach. Then later in 2011, Halo CE Anniversary releases, and I ended up purchasing that a little bit after release. And the reason I know that is because I got the pre-order case, like that cardboard outer casing that was textured, that came with the Grunt Funeral Skull. I got all that when I purchased CEA from GameStop, so I had to have purchased the game relatively close to release date. And from that ended up making me eventually start playing through every Halo game in chronological order from events that take place. Now, I had played Halo Reach's campaign prior to CEA releasing, but I played it on easy difficulty, so I didn't have like the campaign completion achievements. And eventually, Halo 4 gets announced. And I'm like, well, I guess it's better time to start playing through all these games to know the whole story. So my first time playing through the Halo campaign on normal difficulty was CE Anniversary. And then eventually I end up purchasing Halo 2 at Best Buy. I remember finding a copy of the Platinum Hits edition, the one that's in like that silver grayish case, not the limited edition case, like the one that's like metallic, but like the normal Xbox, the plastic Xbox case, but it was in like a grayish color. I remember getting that copy from Best Buy for like $20 in 2011 or 2012, one of the two. Um, I end up playing through that, and then after that, I go and start playing Halo 3 on my main Xbox Live account. Because without CEA and Halo 2, I would have never played Halo 3 on that account. Another thing that made me do that was those Halo Waypoint armors, if you remember those, which is actually a video I made 4 years ago showing that the thing still worked in 2018, which is my most viewed video, and people enjoyed things like that video. Um, I remember wanting to get the helmet, like the military police helmet in the CQB helmet, because I did use the CQB helmet for a bit in Halo 3 on my player's customization. So I wanted to get those helmets and also that chest plate you got. So I ended up going through Halo 3 on my main Xbox Live profile eventually. Time after, well, actually, I think my first time playing that Halo 3 on my main Xbox Live account was in April of 2011, but it was essentially just custom games I played on there because of watching some of those custom game videos on YouTube that I would go and download them. And then I never played really the campaign until after I had finished Halo 2's campaign at some point in early 2012. And then after I finished Halo 3, I eventually got Halo 3 ODST because you needed Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, and Halo 3 to get all the Halo Waypoint armors. Well, obviously you needed Halo Reach because they were unlockable in Halo Reach only, but you needed Halo 3 and ODST to unlock all of those Halo Waypoint armors. So I eventually was able to get Halo 3 ODST, played through that story, loved all of the Bungie Halo games. And I played all those before Halo 4 released later in 2012. Which, speaking of Halo 4, I think it's time to finish off this topic of Halo Reach in the whole 2010 to 2012 era of the Xbox 360 Halo games for me, which shaped my childhood the most. We've been talking about this era for me specifically for almost 15 minutes now, and you can just see I have a passion for this game specifically. But I think it's time to now move on to talking about Halo 4 and the things I enjoyed about that as well, such as customs, campaign, multiplayer, etc. Stuff that I enjoyed so much in Halo Reach as well. I still enjoyed a bit in Halo 4, even though there were some things I didn't like about the changes. But let's move on to the Halo 4 topic now. So, late 2012, Halo 4 releases the first Halo game other than Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary by 343 Industries. It was a game I enjoyed off the bat, and there definitely were things that even like day one that annoyed the crap out of me, such as for whatever reason on day one my Xbox 360 Elite did not enjoy playing Halo 4. It would constantly disconnect me from it, even though the Xbox had perfect connection to Xbox Live, whereas my brother's Xbox 360 Slim had no issues, and the router was pretty much the same distance apart from both of our Xboxes, so it never made sense to me. That was one thing that kind of annoyed me, but it got fixed relatively quickly, so I don't know whatever happened about that. But my absolutely favorite thing about Halo 4 was the Dominion game mode in multiplayer matchmaking, as the game mode reminded me so much of the classic Star Wars Battlefront games by Pandemic Studios, because Battlefront 2 specifically from, the 2005 one, I spent so many hours playing that game. It got to the point where I had every single weapon and every upgrade maxed out, which you had to do every single thing like 64 times for it to max it out. That's how much I played that game. And when I saw 343 was making essentially Battlefront 2's Conquest game mode for Halo 4, I was ecstatic. It was my favorite game. It was my most played game mode in Halo 4. It's actually the only game type in Halo 4 on my service record where I pretty much filled out everything. I think the only thing I was missing for that service record was just X amount of wins, and I think I was on tier 4 or 5 for that thing. I played that game mode so much, and then eventually 343 removed it from the matchmaking and put it in a rotational playlist, and I was just bummed. But obviously, there were things I didn't like about Halo 4, such as a bunch of physics related stuff from Halo Reach got changed, such as kill ball physics or warthog physics. You couldn't accurately recreate game modes like Speed Halo or Jump Rope by Darth Human. Um, Other things being the fact that there was no actual infection game mode. You had to use flood mode, but you couldn't give the flood weapons like you could give the infected weapons in Halo 3 and Halo Reach. And then eventually a modder came and made or brought back infection by making it to where it was flood, but the infected person was a normal Spartan model like the classic infection modes. There were so many fun things, but also little things that just really annoyed me about Halo 4. But other things like Spartan Ops, I loved it at first, but playing through it again sometimes, a lot of those repetitive levels kind of annoyed me, but I had so many good memories of playing Halo 4 with a lot of my friends that played Halo Reach with me as well. But around this time as well, a lot of them saw the whole loadout thing and started to slowly drop the game for multiplayer wise because they're like, well, this is now just Halo Call of Duty. I could go play Black Ops 2 or MW3 and experience the same thing. So that's kind of what a lot of them ended up doing. Which, unfortunate as it is, it happens. I mean, it ended up happening with Halo 5 with a lot of my friends because a lot of them jumped ship to either just PlayStation or just be on PC and not Xbox. But, that's one of those, it is what it is. But I still found friends that still would play Halo 4 and play customs. We would still play customs very often, not as much as we would with Halo Reach's customs, where we pretty much were doing it every other night. And at this point, I'm now in high school when Halo 4 releases. And I met friends that were the grade above me. A few of them, they played Halo 4 a lot, so I would join them for playing Halo 4. And my friend Hutch specifically, I remember there were many nights after football games because of band. We were both in band together. there'd be a lot of nights after we'd get back from the football game, and then some of our friend groups in the band, we would all go to Taco Bell after the game. I remember coming home, some of us all jumping on Halo 4 together, or around this time as well. This is when Minecraft released on the 360. We'd either be jumping on Minecraft or Halo 4, playing some either custom games or some multiplayer together. And then, the next year, 343 releases the final update with the Ricochet game type, which that was another amazing game type. I remember my friend Hutch, Cody, and I spending hours just playing that game type alone. Specifically because we all enjoyed Halo 3, and because the map The Pit got remade for Pitfall, and that was one of the maps made to accompany the Ricochet game mode. We had such a fun time playing Halo 4 together, and then some of our other friends would join us. Billy would play Halo 4 with me occasionally. When I'd go over his house, we'd play split screen customs, see if any of his friends or any of our friends were online, and invite them to custom games, so on and so forth. So Halo 4 still had some great memories, just the memories don't live up to the 2 years of memories that Halo Reach brought me and my brother, my cousins, and so many of our friends, a lot of which I still talk to this day. And then, after Halo 4's lifespan ends, Microsoft releases the Xbox One, and then in 2014 we get Halo the Master Chief Collection. I start playing that, but then also relatively early on, a lot of the community realizes how broken of a mess MCC is, and a lot of people ended up going back then to playing Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo 3. I was kind of one of those people that would jump between playing some Halo 4 on MCC or Halo 4 on the 360 and playing Halo 3 and Halo 2 and Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 4 on MCC. It was just a matter of if the game was going to let me into the multiplayer matchmaking for MCC. I did a bit of forging on MCC as well, like I did with Halo 4, essentially remaking a bunch of Reach maps I used to play a lot of with or my Halo Reach friend groups from middle school and then now high school. I used to play, or I used to remake a bunch of maps I liked from those game nights into Halo 4, and then we remade them for Halo 2 Anniversary to experience how each game and map changes through the different Halo games. But around this time, not a lot of them got the Xbox One, so that number slowly got less and less, and it became a point essentially of where most of us dropped off playing Halo. I still played Halo mostly, but again, when the multiplayer was working for MCC, or I'd go back and play a bit of Halo 4 on the 360, a little bit of Halo Reach on the 360, and a bit of Halo 3 on the 360. But I definitely did a lot of campaign for Halo 4 in that time. And then December of 2014 rolls around, we get the Halo 5 beta. I played a crap ton of the Halo 5 beta. And then a year later, Halo 5 releases. I played a good deal of Halo 5 as well up until I believe the summer of 2015. And that's then where I started to have issues with a lot of 343's decisions. That's when they announced, I believe, the Memories of Reach update for Halo 5, where they showed all the new wrecks coming to the game, but they purposely left one blank with the Oni logo over it. And it made me, and I think a lot of other people in the community, think we're going to get the Falcon from Halo Reach back. Because, I mean, other content in the Memories of Reach update were just June, Emil, Cat, and George's armor, but none of them were completely accurate to their Reach armor sets, because Carter was already in the game. And other things like George's chain gun, but then they did weird stuff like the Brute Plasma Rifle, which wasn't Reach, and stuff like that. And then it turns out the update didn't come with the Falcon. It came with a Phaeton upgrade for Halo 5, which was a huge letdown. And then I believe a few months after that, Microsoft and 343 decided to bring Halo Reach and I believe Halo 3 to the backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. And when that happened, my brother, me, a bunch of our friends that were all playing Halo Reach back in the day together, we all jumped on, or at least for the ones of us that had the Xbox 360, but the one or the Xbox One, and then the ones that still had their 360s with Live, a bunch of us jumped on and started playing some Halo Reach customs together since there was crossplay between the Xbox One and the 360. when Reach came to backwards compatibility. At least for custom games and multiplayer, campaign had some bugs for crossplay. So I remember when those games all came to backwards compatibility, it felt like they had another life with my friend groups because some of them came back to play them again since they could play with us that were on the Xbox One while they were on their 360s still. So those days I miss them greatly. And because Halo Reach came to backwards compatibility, I started playing it again a lot more, playing the multiplayer a lot more. And when I had left off on Halo Reach, I was at the rank of Mythic or Noble. Um, Now, when I left Halo 4 for MCC, I had already maxed out Halo 4's rank. Halo 4 was definitely the easiest one to level up on because of just how much XP you got, how the XP progression curve got to, especially for the different what was the names of different Spartan classes, like the specializations? How the progression on those worked was relatively easy, so you were able to fly through the levels in Halo 4 relatively easy, but I left Halo Reach off at the rank of either Noble or Mythic, one of the two, and after it came to backwards compatibility, I started playing it more and more often, going between that game and going between Halo 5, working on both at the same time. And then after I graduate high school, throughout that summer, I start playing Halo Reach so much more. I start remaking a bunch of my old Halo Reach map review videos that I had made back in 2011 and 2012 because I purged them all from my channel because they were so low quality. Actually, all the low quality videos from my channel before 2015 are gone from the internet. I started remaking a bunch of them and re-uploading them, starting with some Halo Reach map reviews, some Halo 3, Halo 4, and then some Halo 2 Anniversary ones. But I started playing the multiplayer a lot more, a lot of, BTB, playing Griffball, Firefight, SWAT, etc. To where between after graduating high school till towards the end of my first semester in college, or my first year in college, I'd hit the rank of inheritor in May of 2017, which was a goal that I had been wanting to do for years. And the fact that I was able to finally go back and do it and finish it meant a lot to me as well, even though I didn't have a lot of my original friend group playing any of the games at that point because so many of them didn't like Halo 5. Um, but the bright side there was during that year after graduating high school to before I hit Inheritor in Halo Reach, I met many friends over Xbox Live, a lot of which are ones that have been in videos on this channel, such as Fun Hazards, Midnight, Cryptic, etc. I met a bunch of them between after I graduated high school up until the end of my first semester or my first year in college, and I still am friends with them to this day. So it's just one of those group or a group stops playing games together as much, but you end up finding a new group, which is why the whole friendship and memories thing about these Xbox 360 games means so much to me because I've met so many different people through these games. I had another friend over Xbox Live that my friend Tyler, my brother, and I met while just randomly talking in voice chat during a match in Halo Reach. Come to find out, and this was back in 2011 or 2012. Come to find out, the dude lived 3 hours from us. So it was always one of those, little like inside jokes between us that one day we're gonna all just meet up and hang out. Um, but he ended up stopped playing Xbox in around 2014 after the Xbox One came out. So it was kind of a bummer, but again, people move on, people stop playing games, and it happens. But there's just so many good memories of all these games. Specifically Reach 3 and Halo 4 because of custom games and Forge, and then obviously ODST, but I never really played ODST with my friends because a lot of them didn't buy it because they didn't like or a lot of them returned it because they didn't like the game. But me, I found the game very fun in general and all the things you could do in it for all the different achievements. Speaking of achievements, I remember not really caring about achievements at first, and then 2014 comes around, and pretty much any achievement I hadn't gotten just from casually playing, I started to kind of start working on. For example, the one that most people dread from Halo Reach, the if they came to hear me beg achievement, the survive a fall for assassinating an elite, the one that was brought back in MCC that was kind of broken, then 343 said it wasn't broken, then it turned out it actually was broken. That was one I didn't get until 2014 when I started going back and achievement hunting. And then that was another thing. Achievement hunting brought me into different Xbox Live groups and meeting different people, some of which have appeared in some of my videos of me doing these Let's Hunts where I would go after certain achievements, especially a lot of these harder ones like Halo Reach Legendary under 3 hours or the Endure achievement for Halo 3 ODST or Annual from Halo 3. Some of those really cool and fun ones. So I remember going after all these different achievements throughout the years, and they brought so many good memories. So yeah, that's just a bit. I know this video is running long, especially with the commentary. We're about at over 30 minutes of commentary, so this is now over an hour and a half long video, guys, because the next hour is going to be of just me navigating the menus for all of the Xbox 360 Halo games. I don't know what else to say. I know I've been rambling on at some points and I've kind of stuttered and stuff like that, but I want you guys all to know these last 7 years of the Xbox 360, well, I should say the 7 years of the Xbox 360 Halo games lifespan where they were, the current games, and now we're at 15 years since Halo 3 released. For me at least, these last 14 years have been an amazing journey since my first time playing Halo 3 back in 2008 to, the last time I played Halo Reach or any of the Xbox 360 games essentially was right before Halo Reach released on MCC in late 2019, because that's essentially when I made the full transition to only playing MCC at that point. And oh man, sometimes going back and trying to play the classic Xbox 360 version of Reach or Halo 4, Halo 3, it's a struggle going from 60 FPS on MCC going down to 30. I mean, this gameplay that's been going around in the background this entire time while I've been talking, you don't know how much of a struggle this was to record the past several days, guys, but I wanted to get a last few games in using the classic menu navigation because once these servers are down later today, you can never use the multiplayer searching systems ever again. We're now relying on MCC or Infinite or Halo 5. And I just genuinely am going to miss every bit about these classic Xbox 360 Halo games. Whether or not you count Reach as a classic game or 4 as a classic game, to me, the 360 era of Halo is a classic era. But that's all I have for you guys today on the commentary side. I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry for making this like a half-hour long mini podcast of me just rambling on about a bunch of experiences. There's a bunch of other things I could go on and talk about, but obviously to not make this over a 2-hour long video, I don't want to do that. I hope you guys did all enjoy. I hope you guys also had an amazing Xbox 360 Halo journey over the last 15 years. 20 years for those of you that started with Halo Combat Evolved. But I guess let's make the next 20 years another bright future. Let's relive some of the memories, but let's create new memories for Halo Infinite and all that fun stuff, new friendships and all that. But guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. Remember, if you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe so I know you guys did. And in the comments below, leave your Halo journey stories if you want. But other than that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to let the next hour of this video roll. You guys can chill around if you want and watch the navigation of all the old classic menus with my service records, my achievements, the Halo Waypoint app, etc. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. And stick around to the very end of the video for a message from me.